Hey guys, thanks for checking in. This is going to be my first video, audio, about my book, The Warden. I'm going to be reading the first chapter or two anyway about it, and then maybe some author notes afterwards. Describe how I actually got round to writing it, creating it, and the characters within it. So without further ado anyway, I'll just hop right into the story. Starting with chapter 1. Now, how I usually do my books, especially first person books, is I like to go from character to character. It's always best to have multiple characters, multiple styles and quirks that they have pretty much. Now, we're going to start chapter 1 with Home Alone, and it's with Alice. Damn this infuriating writing block. Smashing my hands on the PC desk, I push away. How am I supposed to write a sequel to my number one horror story if I can scarcely scrape together 4 pages of utter gibberish? To hell with it. The agent can wait a while longer. Although hopes of turning words into gold are all but leaving my mind. It has taken many years for the world to recognise my talent for scaring people with my creative writings. Even Becky, Jamie and David have noticed I am struggling with a heap of pressure the publisher and the agency are placing on my shoulders. Metaphorically speaking, of course. For a little over a month now, Becky, Jamie and David have been trying to scare the living daylights out of me. How Becky and Jamie convinced David to get involved, I will never know. Sure enough, they have succeeded many times in giving me multiple heart attacks, and a few times I let loose a blood-curdling screech of terror, deafening them. They are nothing other than jump scares, really. Try as they might to help me, I am starting to become immune to fear, or so it feels. Swiveling around in my chair, I can hear the ticking of the clock on the wall. Glancing around in the darkened room, the PC screen is the only light source. It has gone so dark already, still the clock states it is only 7. Surely that isn't the time. Barely wrote a chapter in 5 hours? Early nights are upon us in sunny England, and due to the house being in the middle of the woods, it gets darker more quickly than it does in the city. I figure that living out in the wilderness will spark some ideas or scare me, but in truth, it is a charming and peaceful place. It does not make me hunger for city life anytime soon. The noise drove our family crazy. David insisted that we build a massive wall around the house and grounds before he would move in. He's such a big wuss. Rising slowly out of my leather chair that feels like it has been stuck to me for days, I decide it would be best to replenish my writing supplies, more coffee, by the bucket load. As I stretch and yawn, my eyes try to adjust to the darkness of the living room. The PC only casts a faint light across the room. It is enough to see the many windows and bits and pieces. Wandering around the room, following the dim blue glow of the PC screen, I approach my back wall lined with long double windows. It's gotten even darker outside, blacker than crow's wings. Best I close the curtains and turn the lights on. No use leaving them open. Closing one of the curtains, it drops down to the floor swiftly. On to the next one, I realise my phone is uncharged, plugged into a socket under the windowsill. The phone resting on the sill. It had totally slipped my mind. Turning it on, I found a pleasant greeting awaiting me. A picture of my smiling daughter and son. Becky takes after me, although everyone says she has my mother's green eyes since mine are pale blue. Just like me, she has long blonde hair and a square jaw. Sadly, that is a family trait. Becky is a younger version of me, what I wouldn't give to be 19 again. Both David and I are proud of her for enrolling at college and taking up drama. Her ambition is to be an actor in horror films. Horror runs deep in our family. Jamie is stood next to Becky with his arm wrapped around her shoulder. Just like Becky, everyone says Jamie is a double of David apart from his tiny nose. He always has this playful smile that will light up anyone's day, especially mine. Quite the mischievous little buggerlugs though. It was a nightmare raising him. With short dark hair, brown eyes and a short stubble beard coming through, he is also quite the handsome little devil. We were over the moon when he got into Cambridge. Then he told me he was going to become an MP. No idea why he wanted to become a useless, contradicting, bull-crappy machine, but still, I'm happy for him. Both my kids and David love horror. It is the bread and butter of our family. All of us watch lots of films, or take the time to read books. We are all horror fans. David gets scared often, but he enjoys the thrill. Swiping the iPhone to unlock it, I realise that there is a voicemail. It's from Becky. She knows damn well that I struggle using modern day technology. It is complicated enough with a blasted PC. Hey Mum, Hope you're doing well and getting plenty of writing done. Me and Dad just picked up Jamie. We should be home around 7. We have a huge surprise for you. Sod off, Jamie. I'm trying to leave Mum a message. Becky's voicemail ends there, but at least I know they will be home soon. No doubt they will burst through the doors demanding dinner. Turning off the phone, there is a loud thud above like a heavy object has landed on the floor. Above me is the master bedroom, my bedroom. Perhaps Becky, Jamie and David are home already. God help them if this is another one of their scare games. Closing the curtain halfway, there is a light tap on the glass in front of me, followed by many more. Dropping the phone, I leap away from the window. My heart is almost in my mouth. Stupid cat. It is just Piers tapping on the window to get in. I'd forgotten all about him. You know there is a cat flap for a reason. I should skin you alive and leave you to the birds. Gathering up my senses, I open the window to allow Piers inside. He is drenched, the poor thing. I don't understand why, as it hasn't rained all day, yet his smoky grey coat is a right old mess. He looks delighted to see me. Piers, go away, you're absolutely filthy and wet. Where the heck have you been? Piers meows in response. Not like I can understand that. Sighing heavily, I lean over the cat to grab the window handle, and a strong smell of rubbish and whiskey hits me. Reaching for the handle, I quickly retract my hand as another hand comes striking out of the darkness and onto the windowsill. The hand is large and gloved in black leather. Boy, this family is going to give me a heart attack. Clearly they are all planning to scare me into a coffin. Okay, which one is it? Jamie? Or is it Becky? David? Nothing but silence. Okay, now I'm starting to get a little unnerved. Fingers clenching tightly against the windowsill as they pull back ever so slightly. A person begins to press their head against the other window pane. Again I jolt, jumping at the sight of the demonic goat mask. It is the same one David ordered to try and scare me after he had succeeded. It was thrown in the trash. How cliche to use mask to frighten someone. David, I've been that for a reason, you bastard. My heart is racing twice its regular beat. I'll open the back door. I will not have you climbing through the window. Are Jamie and Becky waiting to scare me too? This all the big plan then? Once more I am met with utter silence as the mask just stares through the window. Heavy breathing begins to cloud up the window as the person behind the white glass mask continues to look at me, fear starting to creep in. I began to feel relief as the hand starts to remove itself from the windowsill and then slams the window shut. Who needs coffee when the family will scare you awake? Since Piers has fled in a hurry too, as he was nowhere to be seen. No doubt he's in the kitchen waiting by his food bowl. Instead of locking the window, I push it open. Popping my head out, I look for Becky, Jamie or David, whichever one is in that foul-smelling goat mask. In the distance I can make out a skinny figure walking down my decking towards the kitchen door. Make sure you bin that damn mask. I will not allow that smelly thing in my house a second time. Only silence and the chill of the wind answer me. My family are sure going alright this time. With a metallic crunch, I lock the window and pull the curtains to. Quickly moving to the next two windows in the living room, I close these curtains as well. Whoever is behind that mask can damn well wait for scaring me. They have keys on them anyway, so they can just let themselves in. The curtains drawn, the room has become almost pitch black even, with the light of the PC screen flashing. Popping open the phone, I hold it up so that I don't end up banging my knees into the coffee table or get my pale blue dress caught on anything. Steadily making it to the kitchen door, I flip the light switch, only for nothing to happen. Again and again, click, click, click. The lights will not ping on. Either a certain family member has been messing with the fuse box in the basement, or the lights for both the living room and the kitchen are shot. With how the night is going, it is most likely that one of my kids or husband has messed with the fuse box. If I catch any of them messing with the electrics, I will throttle their necks. Using the light of the phone to navigate the kitchen, the floor feels cold on my bare feet. All this money and I still scrimped on paying for underfloor heating. The black tiles are so cold they make my heels lift off the floor so that I walk on my toes. There isn't much to collide with in the kitchen, as it is quite large with an island counter in the middle. Meow. Little bastard, Piers. I swear on my grave I will haunt you. Get off the counter now. You're all wet and muddy and you bloody well know you shouldn't be on there. Piers has rested himself between the sharp knives and the fruit bowl in the middle of the counter. Brushing Piers off the worktop, I place him on the floor where he continues to swim in between my legs. His tail stood to attention. Try as I can to shoo him away, he only rushes off when there is a light knock on the back door. The door handle presses down a few times, but the door remains shut, and no wonder too. Alice, you silly woman, I think to myself. Left the keys in the door. They are now chiming away as the knocks on the door grow louder. I'm coming now, hold on. Dashing across the kitchen, I reach the door, peeling back the cotton blind that covers the top half of the glass. As I go to turn the key, I freeze to the spot. Who is the man staring down at me? He isn't my husband. Who is he? And that concludes chapter 1. I'll get started with chapter 2 straight away. And again, we're going to be in Alice's mind. And again, back in the same house. Fright grips me like a vice, clutching at each individual piece of my body as I continue to gaze at the man who has painted his face eggshell white. With red smears under his bloody crimson eyes, he looks like an utterly terrifying demonic clown. Scruffy black hair dangles down the side of his head in an oily mask. Gasping for air as I forget to breathe, the man smiles at me. He has a realistic-looking teeth painted on both of his cheeks that enhance his widening, sick smile. Will you not let me in, Alice? He continues to smile at me. The black rotting teeth on show as he presses his face against the glass of the door. His gaze never once leaves me. Not only does this spine-chilling clown know me by name, he isn't anyone that I recognise, and his voice is slow, filled with murderous intent. Cotton slipping from my hands, the window covers gracefully back into place. Shivers run the entire length of my spine. It now dawns on me that this is no prank. My family would not go to this extent to scare me. This guy is most likely going to try and kill me. Tap, 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 bang. The clown is knocking on the glass. His eyes seem to burn through the cotton mesh like fire, as I can see them scanning the darkness, hunting for me. Let me in, Alice. We can play such wondrous games. You, me, and the others. He continues to rattle the golden door handle before losing his patience. After a brief pause, he begins to bash methodically on the door, making me jump with each hair rising. Bang! Hands trembling, I slide my phone open and begin to dial 999, whilst turning around and seizing a kitchen knife from the countertop. My eyes, adjusting to the darkness rather quickly, makes it easier for me to see the man outside. He's prowling around the kitchen windows, prying at them with his fingers to see if any have been left ajar. Thud. 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 That noise came from inside my house. Someone is inside my house, dear Lord. They're coming down the stairs that lead directly into my kitchen. How are they already in my house? Quickly I throw myself down behind the counter and slide the phone into standby. If I turn it off, it will alert the intruder to my presence. The stairs are at the far end of the kitchen. Scuttling away to the side of the counter, I hunt down, knife in one hand, mobile phone in the other. If I make a run for the living room, the person now squelching across my kitchen floor will no doubt spot me. Lifting the knife up in a defensive position, I peek around the corner of the unit. No, not another one. It is another clown. Why is it a damn clown? Not that I can see much in the darkness other than tall silhouettes. I can tell that they are wearing long clown shoes, along with a clown robe, as some natural light illuminates this intruder. Unlike the intruder outside, this one has clown hair too, or a seriously mad hairstyling taste. Moonlight erupting through the windows casts long lengthy shadows against the kitchen walls and unit. All the moonlight does is give another clown a bright glow, enough to see that his hair is wisped like fire. Continuing to peer at my potential killer, he stands motionless, still as a statue before sniffing the air like a dog. His eyes then focus on the back door, where I see the shadow of the other clown returning. No choice now but to take my head away or risk being seen. The moon must have gone behind the cloud as a shiny light evaporates from the kitchen. Soft squelching noises fill my ears, followed by the clunk and click of a lock. Back door opening with a long droning creak, a gust of wind drifts through, slightly chilling the kitchen. Two shadows are cast across the room and projected onto the wall as the light of the moon briefly returns. Another creak signals the closing of the back door. Key still jangling within it, I hear the clank, click of the door as they lock it. and then remove the keys. I have no idea which clown has taken possession of them, but they continue to rattle them as they walk across the kitchen. "Alice won't play with us, Froggy," says a familiar voice. The other clown responds with a snarl and a quick snap of his teeth. Ding dong! That sound makes both clowns look in the direction of my living room. I can feel it in my bones. They have to be looking in that direction. What they are hearing is the sound of my PC going into standby mode, and with that sound the main source of light in the room vanishes. Just maybe, with the dim light gone, they will walk right past me, unless their eyes have adjusted to the dark. Maintaining silence by holding my breath, I can feel my heart racing, beating faster and faster. With every beat it seems to grow louder. Fear of my own heart giving me away is settling into my mind, ears perking up at the soft sounds of squelching clown shoes as they head in my direction. I hear the gentle rattle of metallic keys approaching from the right side of me. God, please let them pass by. Please. Squelch, ting, squelch. These are the noises that are going to make my hair turn grey before my time. Feels like an eternity before the two tall clowns both go around on different sides of the counter. Neither has seen me sunk so low. I have merged with the counter and the floor. Then again, they have no reason to look down, and I will not give them one. Remaining quiet, I say prayers in my head as they both move towards the open living room door. Ping pong. No. No. Whoever just decided to send me a Facebook message, I swear that if I die now, I will haunt you. That sound springs my PC back to life, and I know that once I receive a Facebook message, it will not take long before my phone comes to life. Try as I may to block out all sound and all light from my phone, it is no use as it comes to life with a loud ping pong. Damn my agent, why do you have to message me now, Claire? Tears begin to well in my eyes as the phone illuminates my face. The two clients both turn away from the doorway leading into the living room and begin to stare down at me. The one wearing the clown clothes is covered in so much blood. His shoes are caked in it. That is why they are making squelching sounds across the kitchen floor. "Hello, Alice." The man from the window reaches down towards me, and fear makes me lash out with a knife, cutting him across his face. He drops to his knees, grabbing his wound. As I spring to my feet, I lob the phone at the other clown. It collides with his face and stuns him momentarily. Without knowing what to do, I about turn and run with all haste towards the stairs. Hands reach out for my ankles as I feel leather fingers against my goose flesh, but I avoid their grasp. Barely landing my foot on the first wooden step, I slip on something wet. The banister stops my fall and I lift myself up as a loud hideous shriek comes from behind. Only clambering up a few steps, my hair gets grabbed by the other clown as he latches on tightly. Doing the only thing I can think of on the spot, I hack away at my own hair with a knife, cutting the strands and releasing the mad clown's grip. He stumbles backward, falling down the stairs with a hefty bang. Upstairs, the hallway is illuminated by the ceiling lights. Shocked to see that the walls and floor are covered in bloody footprints and handprints. Just whose blood is this, though? No time to dwell on questions, as I need to hide from the crazed clowns. Picking the first door I come to, I open it quickly and step inside, hastily closing it as two sets of feet race up the wooden stairs. Thanks to the light, I can see my two would-be killers through a small crack in the door. One of them is sniffing around again like a mad dog. He's even making low growls and high-pitched shrieks. This man is dressed in purple attire and his face is painted mostly in purple too. Even to me it is clear he is out of his walnut. Steadying my breathing, I keep the knife in hand and my eyes focus on the two clowns as they begin to slowly walk past the door. If I can just avoid them and sneak past, I can race downstairs and escape through one of the living room windows. Finally, it seems God is being merciful. Sighing quietly, I step back just a little, but almost jump as my feet step into something warm, sticky and wet. There is an awful amount of blood in this linen closet. It has to be blood, as it seems to be everywhere, all over the landing and all over the clown's clothes. If there is this much blood though, oh my, I gasp as I turn around. I am not the only person in here, as I feel myself hitting another body. I hear a light creak and I begin to sob as the closet door slowly opens. the light shining brightly, showing me my husband's mutilated body. He has stab wounds all over, his intestines are hanging out, and I've been shoved down his throat. Even with so much blood covering his face, I know it is my David. The wedding ring says it all. These two monsters have propped him up, using towels to fasten him in place. Tears form streams down my puffy cheeks as I spin around. Let's play a game, Alice. The only clown that spoke smiles with rotten teeth as he tilts his head 90 degrees. Before I have a chance to react, the other snarling clown jumps on top of me, causing me to fall to the floor and covering me in David's blood. The purple clown runs his cold-blooded fingers all on my face before digging them into my skin. He smells foul and rotten. Screeching in my face, he begins to lift my head up before smashing it back down with force. Up and down, up and down. This clown continues to smash my head off the floor until the world around me starts to fade, and then with one more hit. And that concludes chapter 2. I will say apologies for brief interruptions and stops. If you can't tell by my voice already, I'm not very well. Great for doing a first video for YouTube. Not really. So, the author notes on this. Basically, when creating Alice, or creating this was my first horror story, my first delve into creating a horror story. Horror does run deep in my house, we are all horror fanatics. So it's similarly based on my family. Now, the actual layout of the house is based on my house, just in a much grander and bigger aspect. And I wrote this originally to terrify the living hell out of my partner. She was terrified as well. She won't even read the second book. It's kind of hilarious. But yeah, so when creating Alice, I wanted somebody not quite in the norm. I wanted somebody who's older. She's been through life quite a bit. Although she's kind of rich, she's made it pretty much. But I wanted somebody as a main character that I can tear apart piece by piece and make her life utterly hell. As for the two clowns, they have much more interesting stories later on that I won't reveal spoilers, and the same goes for Alice as well. That concludes chapter 2, a few author notes, and thank you all for listening.